Hello and a very warm welcome to the brand new edition of To The Point. I'm Kriti, Mishra, and on today's show, I have with me Environment Minister, Heavy Industries and Public Enterprises Minister, Information and Broadcasting Minister, Mr. Prakash Javadekar. Sir, welcome to Rajya Sabha Television and thank you so much for joining us in this era of social distancing.
Yes, because this is new normal where you don't meet people, you meet on them on screen and you keep, even if you meet, you keep social distancing. You are with mask actually when you are with people and washing a hand and staying at home is the new normal and which will remain for many more days. Those lockdown will be over.
Absolutely, sir. We are also strictly adhering to the new normal and following the social distancing norms. But, sir, the world is in the grip of coronavirus. India's response has been preemptive, it has been graded. Where do we stand in terms of flattening the curve? How do you see the future?
I see there are two important things happening that India has so far very successfully managed the pandemic. See the advanced countries like America has 70,000 deaths now and their own president predicts 1 lakh deaths. Uh, in England, Spain, Italy, and France, there are already 25,000, around 25,000 deaths. In Germany and Belgium, it's 700,000 deaths. In China, Iran, and other countries, there are large number of deaths. And on that, in that context, India has managed it better because we pronounced lockdown at the very right time, very opportune time, and therefore we could get time for preparation. See, preparation is also important because we had no COVID hospital because no world has not COVID hospital. Now we have nearly 700 COVID hospitals. We had now created nearly 2 lakh isolation beds, nearly 15,000 ICUs. But God willing, only 80 patients are being given oxygen, and only 18 are on ventilators.
Absolutely, sir. We hope that the recovery rate becomes even more impressive. But, sir, this is a difficult time. It's a testing time. How is the government ensuring a balance between lives and livelihoods?
I think Prime Minister aptly said it, "Jaan hai to jahan hai," in the first phase of lockdown, and then while asking for yet another lockdown, he said, "Jaan bhi, jahan bhi." So now in this third edition of lockdown, we are seeing more and more things are open. So industries are open, so commercial activities are open, and there is employment everywhere because 1 month is lost, but not the second month. And therefore, I think we have started our economic wheel. Agriculture sector has done tremendously good, and they have bumper crops and more sowing, and at the same time, markets also are responding very well.
Right, sir. One more thing I'd like to understand from you is about the ROK C2 app. There are several dissident voices. There are several of the allegations that are being leveled. How do you choose to assuage all those concerns today? You're the I&B minister, you're the environment minister, you're the heavy industries and public enterprises minister.
Yes, it is there to help patient or to help anybody to alert him, give him alert that if there is somebody infected person near and around him. That is the benefit of both the infected one and the person who is not infected. So both get alert and both can remain at a distance. So that the best app has come out. And now Google has also brought out such app. So is it not privacy? Only in India it's a privacy issue. In America it is not. Facebook, what is Facebook? Facebook has all the information that Arundhati or anybody wants, or even more, and therefore this is useless debate. Already nearly 10 crore people have downloaded the app, and more nearly 50 crore ultimately will download.
So, talking about the Environment Ministry, probably the only silver lining one could see in this pandemic is the improvement in the environmental indicators. How do you look at them?
No, listen, I'm not that romantic to see it as the green pasture because when you stop flying and when you stop industries, you will have no pollution. But then you cannot live sustainably like this because without industrial products, without employment, and without city transport, how you will survive? So today's India can survive only 30, 40 crore people. So where 100 crore people will go? And therefore, uh, though it seems very good, let us understand that we can keep more and more good. That's the lesson. But it can't be as we see observed today because of complete lockdown.
So, you made a very important pitch, which is about 1 trillion for green recovery. What kind of response do you anticipate globally?
We want that the world has to actually recognize now more money needed now more because world has promised that $100 billion they will give annually since 2009. So now 10 years have already passed. So it's $1 trillion. And therefore, we are demanding that $1 trillion must be on the table so that there can be hundreds of adaptation projects as well as hundreds of mitigation projects and new technologies must be shared at cost price because you cannot profit from disaster. That's my simple logic.
You've also said that Corona has taught us that we can survive on less. How do we make our consumption patterns more sustainable?
I think Indian lifestyle is very important and conservation and preservation is the hallmark of Indian preservation. Therefore, I said that we can survive with less. That is the lesson of that is what we have learned through the COVID crisis. So we believe that Indian ethos is all about aparigraha, is all about consuming the necessity, and therefore don't waste and don't unnecessarily throw things. And that is the Indian ethos. And therefore, I think we need to, world will also understand it. And just I'll give you one figure. Our plastic waste is 11 kilo per annum. America's plastic waste is 130 kilo per annum. So it's a huge difference, tenfold. Only good thing there is practically 95% is get collected. In our country, two-thirds gets collected, one-third doesn't get collected. Now we are concentrating on that.
Right, absolutely, sir. And you've also made a very strong pitch on making climate technology open source or at an affordable rate.
Yeah, climate technology has to be at affordable rate because, as I said, my thesis is that we cannot profit from disaster. When world has come together, in like COVID vaccine, if whenever vaccine comes and if it costs 5,000 or 10,000 rupees, it will be beyond hundreds of crores of poor in the world, and therefore it has to be reasonably priced. It should be in a way the innovation for such technology should be in open source, and therefore it will be only cost of production. What will be the charges of such medicines, so vaccines. So the same logic applies to climate change because if we think climate change is a disaster, then we must prevent it by all means.
Absolutely, sir. That's a very important point that you're making. But moving ahead and talking about another ministry, which is the Heavy Industry and Public Enterprises Ministry, so particularly the auto sector, that needs to be back on the wheels. What are the plans?
Suffered for two reasons. One, it was already planned migration to BS6. So from 1st April, all the vehicles are manufactured BS6 compliant. But there is stock of BS4 vehicles that needs to be cleared. And at the same time, there was sluggish market for last 7 8 months, and now again this phase also people are not coming forward to purchase. But I think this mood will change once we are out of COVID and once people get stabilized and routine, also they understand that we have to live with this, and therefore from June onwards we'll see an upward movement.
Sir, you've been holding parleys constantly with the auto sector representatives. What are the policy interventions that the industry is looking ahead from the government?
Industry always looks for many other challenges, and some suggestions are really good. Like industry expects that nowadays banks must be must not be taking the traditional stand, but a lenient stand towards the write-offs and towards essentially declaring NPS. At the same time, these people are ready, but as we have said that you must keep social distancing in their line jobs. There cannot be a distancing of 6 feet. So they have devised a separator, and that separator also serves the same purpose. So these are good suggestions which are coming from industry, and therefore I think industry and government dialogue will bring a better future for both.
Absolutely, sir. Many experts also point out that as far as that industrial production is concerned, China's loss is going to be India's gain.
It doesn't happen automatically. We have to make efforts, and those efforts are on by Commerce Ministry, by Finance Ministry, by many other ministries, and by us also. That we have to make sure that people get permission immediately with reasonable conditions. We are not saying that you should throw environmental considerations at the bank of river. No, you have to take into that to factor into the permissions, but the process can be speeded up to grant it in 1 month. So that can be done. And at the same time, it's not just environment clearance, but land, electricity, and many other things need to come fast. And if coordinated approach of central government, state government, and local municipalities, Gram Panchayat, local administration is also has to play a critical role. And if all work together, we'll work fast.
Absolutely, sir. And now talking about the media industry. The media specifically has been hit hard because of lockdown in terms of advertising, and talking about electronic media first. How do you plan to allay their concerns?
See, they are. There is also one fact beyond them and beyond our control, that somehow a perception has been created that if you read newspapers, you will get COVID infection.
Yes.
And therefore, people are not reading newspapers, they are not handling newspapers, they are reading e-newspapers. And even RWS, those educated class also are prohibiting door delivery person of newspapers to enter into their colonies. So this is both ways. I have asked newspaper industry and even TV industry, because many are cross products. So you start a campaign of public awareness, telling them the truth and science that newspapers don't bring in COVID. So that is what we need to convince as early as possible. Otherwise, this drug will hurt industry a lot. And second important issue is they are not getting advertisements, but now people are watching, reading newspapers only, and there is time so watching TV. So there are increasing number of advertisements coming in its way, and I think things will move fast. Yes, there are certain measures which government can take, and we have already sent the memorandum of newspaper and print media and electronic media and media industries memorandum to the finance ministry. Let us hope that something will definitely come out of it.
Sir, the electronic media journalists particularly are also heavily exposed to coronavirus.
That is why we, on the very first day, we appealed to all the newspaper channel owners that you take proper care of your field staff because they must go with proper mask, medical N95. At the same time, they must have the hand gloves. They must there. I keep my label always with me, plus the other connections. I keep it, I sanitize it, and only that connection gets connected to the cameras. So this is how we need to take care. Everybody needs to take care, and media people also must understand that this is a different ball game. Here we must take these three, four basic care we need to take.
Absolutely, sir. Now that we're talking about the measures taken by the government, how do you look at the post lockdown strategy?
I think post-lockdown strategy, we are already opened up a lot. In green zones, it is already a normal area working. In orange zone, it is practically 80% working. And in red zone also, nearly 30-40% working. So it's a good mixture. After we mitigate in the red zone areas, I think they will get less and more districts will be opened. So every every week there will be progress, and we will come out of this COVID state, and at the same time we'll also start living with COVID. We get trained for that mentally as well as physically.
Absolutely, sir. And before we end this conversation, there was a very important term that you mentioned when we began our conversation, which was about new normal.
Yeah.
That the world has to adhere to the new normal. The world is witnessing massive disruptions right now, economic disruptions right now. Mr. Javadekar, post corona world, how do you look at it?
I see the post-corona world is not the end to the story of human growth. Human growth will continue, human ingenuity will get filled, and at the same time, we all will progress in a new direction. There are new sectors which will flourish. There will be some sectors facing challenges, but ultimately there will be a balance, and our progress as humanity, as world economy, and particularly Indian economy, will be coming back to normalcy very soon.
Sir, lastly, how are you observing social distancing norms in your ministry, in all the three ministries that you head?
So, and in house also, we sit always 6 to 8 feet away from each other, and that is how we conduct meetings. But many meetings are conducted on video, and therefore it's a virtual reality, and we are doing real work in a virtual world.
Right, sir. That's a very important phrase and a big takeaway from me in this interview that we are living in this virtual reality and doing real work. And we also connected in this interview through technology only. Mr. Javadekar, thank you so much for joining us and giving us those important updates. It was a pleasure talking to you, sir.
Thank you.